Zigg Zeldic. Who is this being that only appears in quotes and has many feats within his assassin family? Someone whose power might allow him to return alive from an expedition that leaves many fatal victims, alongside figures like Netero in his time, much stronger than today. And what did he really do and bring back from the Dark Continent? Who exactly is Zigg Zeldic? Well, let's find out together here. But who exactly are you two? Introduce yourselves by subscribing to the channel, dropping a like, and hitting the bell icon. Talking about a member of a traditional family is never easy, especially one like the Zoldyck. The Zoldicks are, without a doubt, one of the most feared and respected families in the entire universe of Hunter x Hunter. Since their first appearance in the story, the name Zoldyck carries a weight that goes beyond simple fame. It is synonymous with certain death, absolute skill, and mystery. What sets this lineage apart from other powerful families is the fact that they are not just professional assassins. They are the best in the world at this art. No one compares to the coldness, precision, and efficiency with which they execute their contracts. Security measures, social standing, or the victim's level of protection don't matter. If a Zoldyck has been hired, death is inevitable. What makes this family so legendary and frightening is the accumulation of generations completely dedicated to the art of assassination. The clan lives in seclusion atop Kukuru Mountain, surrounded by gigantic gates that only those with overwhelming strength can open. Their house is guarded by ferocious beasts and protected by butlers who, on their own, would already be exceptional fighters. This demonstrates the level of exclusivity and danger involved even in just trying to get close to them. The family's fame was built not just through successful assassinations, but also through the unbelievable feats of its members over the years. For all these reasons, the Zoldicks are famous, because in a world full of creatures, none, hunters, and calamities, they are the human embodiment of what it means to be deadly. And it is this legacy, built on blood, silence, and efficiency, that immortalized the Zoldyck name in the minds of everyone living in the world of Hunter x Hunter. And among these legendary members of the family, we have Zigg Zeldic. Despite being a figure shrouded in mystery within the universe of Hunter x Hunter, he carries with him an ancestral weight in the construction of the Zoldyck family legacy. His name appears like a shadow among giants, cited sparingly, but sufficiently highlighted to provoke doubt, speculation, and theories. And even without a detailed history, or a significant number of appearances, the simple mention that Zigg participated in the first expedition to the Dark Continent already says a lot about the role he had not just in the world as a whole, but especially in the foundation of the family's reputation. The main known contribution of Zigg to the Zoldyck lineage was precisely this colossal feat. Accompanying Isaac Netero, Lynn Horstduver, and other members of the Hunter Association on a journey to the most dangerous edges of the known world, and returning alive. The Dark Continent is not just another exploration zone, like we commonly see in adventure stories. It is a place where calamities walk freely, where the laws of Nin seem to have ramifications still not understood, where entities like AI, Papu, Hellbell, and Brian destroy lives and entire civilizations. Surviving there is not a sign of luck. It is the ultimate proof of power, resilience, and intelligence. Zigg survived, and that alone is a feat that no other known member of the Zoldyck lineage has managed to replicate. Even though it's not explicitly stated what he brought back from that expedition, the impact of his return may have been silent, but profound. He might have brought back valuable information about the functioning of that unknown world, its geography, ecosystems, dangers, and maybe even something more. Theories point to a possible connection between Nanika, the entity linked to Aluka and Zigg, and that first journey. The most discussed hypothesis is that Nanika is, in fact, a fragment of the entity AI, a calamity that inhabits the Dark Continent. If that is true, and if Zigg really brought her into the human world, then he changed the fate of the family more than anyone could imagine, by giving the lineage access to a power completely outside the traditional Nin scale. Comparing his importance to other members like Maha or Silva, we realize that while they solidified the Zoldyck reputation through more direct and visible feats, like confrontations, completed contracts, and displays of strength, Zigg may have acted from the shadows, planting the seeds of an elevation of the lineage. He was possibly the first in the family to have a worldview that went beyond contracts and killing, an explorer, a visionary, someone willing to risk his own life for something that had not yet been conquered. He did not limit himself to the trade of assassin. He went beyond, seeking knowledge, unknown power, hidden truths at the edges of the world. And this may also have impacted the way the Zoldicks see themselves. The brutal structure of the family may have become more solid after his journey, upon realizing that the world is even more dangerous than they imagined. Perhaps that's why they began to train their children with more rigidity, to protect them more strictly, to strengthen the security around Kukuru Mountain, all to prevent the unpredictable, that which Zigg saw and faced, from catching them off guard. Therefore, even without specific actions listed in the canon, Zigg Zeldic holds deep symbolic and historical value. He expanded the family's horizons, took the Zoldyck name into a territory that few dared to step foot in, and upon his return, left behind an echo of mystery and respect. He represents the pioneering spirit within a family that, by tradition, always preferred absolute control. His contribution was boldness, the crossed frontier, the challenged unknown, and that may have changed the Zoldicks forever. Whether by what he saw, what he brought, or what he inspired in the following generations, Zigg's exact relationship within the Zoldyck family tree remains unclear. Some sources suggest he could be the son of Maha Zoldyck and the father of Zeno, placing him as a central figure between the older and current generations of the family. This intermediary position would imply that Zigg played a crucial role in passing down the techniques and values that define the Zoldicks as elite assassins. However, due to the scarcity of concrete information, these family connections remain speculative. Comparing Zigg to other prominent Zoldyck family members like Maha and Zeno, one notices that each has distinct characteristics that set them apart in the pantheon of assassins. Maha is legendary for his longevity and for surviving a confrontation with Netero, a feat that few can claim. Zeno, on the other hand, is known for his strategic approach and mastery of advanced Nen techniques, being respected even by formidable opponents like Krallo Lucifer. Zigg, though less detailed in the narrative, shares with these relatives an aura of exceptionality, especially due to his connection with the Dark Continent. While Maha and Zeno built their reputations through known feats within the borders of the familiar world, Zigg ventured beyond, facing challenges that remain largely unknown and misunderstood. In terms of raw power, it's challenging to position Zigg relative to figures like Netero or even within his own family, due to the lack of detailed information about his specific abilities. However, his inclusion in such a dangerous expedition and his subsequent survival suggest that he possessed exceptional skills, possibly comparable to the most renowned hunters. Moreover, his willingness to explore the unknown and face the dangers of the Dark Continent indicates a combination of courage, curiosity, and competence that distinguishes him as a remarkable figure, even in a family full of extraordinary individuals. Zigg Zeldick's story, though shrouded in mystery, adds a fascinating layer to the already complex universe of Hunter x Hunter. His connection with the Dark Continent, potential introduction of Nanika into the family, and implicit comparisons with other legendary figures suggest he played a significant role in the events that shaped the series' world. Although the narrative has not deeply explored his story, the implications of his actions and associations continue to fuel discussions and theories among fans, highlighting the richness and depth of the universe created by Yoshihiro Togashi. And surely, as the Dark Continent arc unfolds, we will learn more about that first journey to this continent, and many others too, failed attempts and successful ones, and at what cost. As far as Hunter x Hunter's official story has shown, 5 previous attempts to explore the Dark Continent have been recorded as failures. All of them resulted in catastrophic losses, both in lives and in consequences for the human world. These 5 expeditions are directly associated with the emergence of the so-called 5 calamities, entities or phenomena that are absurdly dangerous, which escaped from the Dark Continent and began to represent a real and lasting threat to humanity. They are AI, linked to the concept of love and desire, possibly related to the entity inhabiting Aluka, known as Nanika. Papu, a deadly and highly contagious disease. Zobai, a species that transforms humans into monsters. Brian, a living and indestructible biological weapon. Hellbell, a venomous snake that lives in colonies and attacks en masse. These calamities reached the human world as a result of attempts to colonize or explore the Dark Continent, and that was enough for the V5, the International Alliance prior to the current V6, to completely prohibit further incursions into that territory. The magnitude of these failures left deep scars. Survival rates were practically zero, and the few who returned, like Zigg Zeldic, Netero, and Lin, came back with traumas, warnings, and experiences that changed the way elite hunters viewed the world. The failures were so drastic that the Dark Continent began to be treated as a kind of end of the world, a place where even the scale of power and logic of none seems to be altered. The current expedition, led by the Kaken Kingdom under the endorsement of the V6, is the first officially authorized one after these 5 tragedies. What sets it apart from the previous ones is the military preparation, international political support, and the use of specialists like Beyond Netero and other elite hunters. However, the risks remain absurdly high, and it's still unknown whether it will become the 6th tragedy or the first success. And who knows, maybe the Chimera ants also came from there, with their goal of exterminating humans and placing Meruem at the top. Perhaps other journeys to the continent were never recorded and gave rise to even more grotesque origins.